to Biztech's C-Suite Conversation Show. Our guest today is Daniel Colby, the founder and group CEO of ITCS Group. Now, ITCS Group is a global IT management consulting, technology services, and IT outsourcing company. Now, to tell us more, welcome to the show, Daniel.
Good morning, Brian. Thanks for having me. It's a great honor.
Now, Daniel, for a start, give us an overview of ITCS Group and its history.
Absolutely. We're about 15 years young. We're an Asia-based managed service company. We're quite heavily focused on financial institutions and on the financial industry and sectors. And we're also quite heavily involved in the workspace areas, in the training areas, and in engineering areas.
Now, so it's a 15-year-old group. What is your footprint like? Because you're headquartered in Singapore.
That's correct. We are headquartered in Singapore. We have also major outlets in Japan, in China, Hong Kong, in Shenzhen, in Australia, in India, in US, and lately in the UK as well.
Could you give us an overview of your solutions that you provide? And I understand that it's 6 different solution areas.
Absolutely. As a managed service provider, really, it comes down to understanding your client's needs, being close. We're quite strong in the infrastructure area. We're very strong in the workspace area. So to me, that includes areas like the service desk, site support, the engineering side about it. We're an expert in cloud technologies, may that be in the private cloud, in the public cloud, or a hybrid cloud. We have developed our own software products in that area. It's called Anywhere. You can think of it as a remote working solution that we have then developed in response to the pandemic area, really, that allows our employees to work from anywhere. So we have our own software in the public cloud. We help our clients with their own private cloud, particularly in the pandemic. Many of our clients struggled. The pandemic hit pretty suddenly, and they had to keep hundreds of thousands of users online. So it was quite crucial in that we brought the experience to the table where we helped them keeping 100,000 people online working from home without much preparation. Some of them have been prepared. Most of them have unfortunately been unprepared. So the ability to scale these solutions quickly and also securely, considering you have your employees working from home, has been quite a major task for us, and then one of the key things that we've been working on in the last few years.
Now, tell me about Anywhere in detail. What makes it different from other solutions that are out there in the market?
Love the question. There's so many. I try to crystallize down. The first one is security. It comes with military-grade encryption, in short, right? It's based on it's a combination of industry-leading technology. So you have it built on the AWS platform, which naturally gives you all the cybersecurity. You have all your common technology that you would normally need in a corporation included, may that be Microsoft Office, Exchange, SharePoint, everything you would use every day to work, really, right? On the other hand, you have it's a VDI, a virtual desktop infrastructure, meaning you can run it on any device you want. You don't need any computing power. You can run it on your iPad, on your laptop, on your PC. It doesn't matter. None of the data is ever stored on your device, Brian. So what that means is if you lose it, you leave it at the pub, on a train, at the hotel. In any case, if ever the device gets lost, your data would not be impacted, right? So the solution really encompasses the security aspects, but not just for individual user, also for the corporate level.
Now, Daniel, you mentioned your footprint stretches across Australia, China, in United States, and now the UK as well. Tell us about the sectors that you focus on, and you mentioned financial services being one of them. And also if you could share customer success stories, how you've really helped customers really succeed and reduce cost or increase their productivity.
Absolutely. We're quite heavily focused on the financial industry. So many of our clients are banks, investment banks, and financial institutions in that area. Our plan is to continue in that area. We are expanding to the key trading hubs. So we have quite a strong team in the US now, and we're naturally Asia homegrown and have our strength here. If you look for what we really do for clients and then the major success story lately, one of them in particular was one of our banking clients, and pre-pandemic, they have been caught up a little bit unprepared, and then coming into the pandemic, many of our banking clients struggled to keep users online. The network capacity, the security, the devices, the hardware concerns, all of that, most of them caught quite unprepared. The BCP plans from a technology business have mostly been to move to a secondary side, which didn't really fly so well in the pandemic, and with the restriction has been mostly ruled out, right? So they struggled, and I think one of the major success stories is we built out an on-premises BDI platform. They are common market players, right? Naturally, may that be VMware, many people use, or Citrix. And with those, we helped them in record time to build a platform with over 100,000 users that can connect remotely, all the data securely stored in the company servers, in the data centers on secure networks, but the users being able to connect remotely, flexibly from anywhere. And post-pandemic, naturally, they're still continuing to use that platform. Some of them have returned to the office. Some of them still work from home. Some of them continue to work in a hybrid model, and anybody that travels naturally loves that solution, because wherever you log into, your solution looks the same, right? And it just gives you that consistent feel. You log in, your data is there and secured.
Now, Daniel, how has then this impacted business continuity plans moving forward? And also, how has this impacted costs for your clients?
Excellent. When you look at BCP during the pandemic and now coming into the endemic, really, we see a massive drive into the cloud, right? We see people talking about the cloud that initially would have said we were never moving to the cloud. I mean, that drive was there before the pandemic, to be fair, right? The digital transformation, whatever people call it, the drive to digitalize your business, find new ways to do it online. It was already there before the pandemic, but for sure the pandemic amplified it. And it would have driven our clients to think about how do we conduct our business. But it also convoluted and makes the picture more complex. Cloud technologies, hybrid, on-premises, public, private cloud, it scares a lot of people, right? It's not easy to understand. Then there's regulation. So you need to have intelligent architectures that allow you to store certain data in certain jurisdiction, be compliant, yet keep others that are not critical systems and not regulated efficiently in the cloud. And that's not an easy adventure for an enterprise, right? So we see a massive demand from our clients and a massive awareness about the BCP plans to move in that direction. But we also see them running into challenges with that. First of all, very few, and I respectfully have that in-house capacity to understand how to build such an architecture. And why would they? If you're an insurance, if you're a bank, if you're an airline, whatever it is, you already have your core business. Trying to specialize on something that is becoming more complex by the minute with a relatively fast evolutionary cycle, it's an uphill challenge, right? So the cost goes up, the complexity goes up, the talent shortage has hit, and salaries have been on the rise, and finding the right people, never mind convincing them to actually stay, has become a challenge for many organizations. So to us, it really drives a lot more outsourcing and partnership conversations. It needs trust, it needs reputation, it needs a track record. But it drives the business, frankly speaking, right? It drives an updrive in demands across Asia, where our core business is. And we see more clients that realize that the talent shortage isn't something that they can overcome in the short term. Having an expert IT division for every feature they ever need is not necessarily economic for them. So we see more of them looking at partnership and looking at other ways to get their IT needs sorted. Not because they want to, born out of necessity, really.
Okay, so this talent issue is an issue facing particularly technology companies or tech talent across the world. It's not unique to Asia. You've tried to do something to help that space in terms of your Olympian Academy. Tell us more about that.
Thanks, Brian. So, I mean, the talent shortage for qualified technical people, say DevOps people, full stack developers, without diving deeply into technology, that shortage already existed pre-pandemic. Then the pandemic came and aggravated that need because everybody suddenly wants to move to the cloud. So it's great from a technology talent perspective because they move from a liability on the balance sheet into an area where they're finally getting the appreciation that they deserve, in my opinion, and just being in that industry, right? Mm-hmm. But it also shows there's a shortage naturally. And people have choice where they work. It changes the formula, right? It became a candidate-driven market rather than an employer-driven market. The shortage hit necessarily in different countries in different ways, but with the pandemic, everybody now has digital needs and there just isn't enough talent. whether people will necessarily know what to do with the talent or not. Everybody's trying to maintain it. You said technologies companies are fighting fiercely for it. Absolutely. But so's everybody else. Even non-technology companies that have technology needs and have technology employees would face that problem. So we saw that aggravating early in the pandemic in early 2020. And we then thought about, from our business perspective, talent is everything. Having the right people is what makes an Asia innovation powerhouse possible in the first place, right? So talent has always been the key for us. And looking down the road, we then realized quickly the recruitment market is heating up, the secondary markets are heating up, skills become harder to obtain. The natural answer for us and evolution was for us that as a company who invests and holds on to talent is to train them ourselves. So we've been fortunate to set up the Olympian Academy early in the pandemic. We have now grown it to an 8-9 people trainer team, training 50, 60 people a month, and we're scaling that up. But what makes that Olympian Academy special, if you ask me? The first thing is, this is a training academy where you come in and you're being paid a salary from day one. You're a full-time employee and you're being paid. The second step is you're being trained. The duration varies. And during the training, there's different phases. For example, maybe you get trained for a month, and then you have some client exposure for a month, and then you get trained for another 2 months, and then you have some more client exposure, right? But the general trend is 1 to 2 months is the minimum amount of training candidates receive. So you get paid while you get trained. You come out after 2 months with industry-leading certifications like Microsoft or Amazon. I think they're basics. Everybody has them when they come out. And that's really a reskilling effort, right? It's a response to market trends. It's a response to what we see the market needs. We've seen governments close the gap the year after, particularly this year. We saw Singapore announce quite a few things around training budgets and reskilling the workforce, and we're leading that naturally. Our training program starts with basic trainings for desktop technicians. It then advances more into level 2 regions, hybrid administrator on different operating systems and platforms. And then again, with practical experience and rotation, right, it then rotates and then grows and incubates finally into full-fledged software development, DevOps, full stack. And the academy comes with quite an amazing human aspect to it, right? We focus on return to work, people that have been out of work, people that may have had a baby break. We look at people that come from all sorts of backgrounds and want to break into technology, people that have been in industries that have been hit and battered particularly badly by the pandemic. I mean, it is clear that the job market is changing. Major research institutes like Gartner, they predict by 2030, we'll have a gap of 85 million technology workers to 8.5 trillion in lost revenue. And I think it's just normal to see what can we do and how can we be ahead and how can we contribute.
So here's the key thing. Obviously, this is something that's in the heart of many governments as well, because they need to upskill their workforce to meet the needs of the changes that are happening in industry. Are you partnering with governments across the markets that you are in?
We are looking into different partnerships, and we're speaking to different ministries to establish more formal partnerships where we're in a couple of tenders for governments for hundreds and thousands of people that need to be trained. We see a massive demand, and government is definitely a sector that we think we can assist and help with, yes.
Now, looking ahead in terms of digital transformation, obviously, the pandemic has accelerated that. There's no doubt about that. What are some key trends that you're seeing moving forward in 2022 and 2023?
Sure. I think the landscape is about to shift a little bit, right? And we've seen strong trends in a pretty much one directional space. I think there's going to be different forces bringing a different balance. To one hand, the technology shortage of skills and talent is not going away. But it will have different impact in different areas, right? We might see the economy cool off a little bit and the demand with that. We might see technology salaries not accelerating further, frankly speaking, but I also don't see them dropping in any spaces, right? There will always be a shortage. I think we're going to see maturation of technology talent from the level 0, level 1s to level 2s, right? People gain more exposure, more knowledge, people have more advanced skills, and that's where a lot of that demand will sit naturally. Training specifically, I think is part of that solution. Having proper planning and looking at the trends is crucial. So on the other hand, I think it also depends on what markets you're at, right? And we're speaking on Biztechasia. So in Hong Kong, in particular, we see continuing high trends for technology talent and an absolute shortage In Singapore, we see absolutely the same. We see untaming trends of technology talent war and war for technology talent, frankly speaking. The Academy is very popular with the clients. Generally speaking, the Academy talent is often committed to clients before training even completes, which shows that trend, and I do not see that slowing down.
Earlier this year, you secured an undisclosed amount of growth investment from Diamond Asia Private Equity. Now,
Yes.
that obviously is to accelerate your growth. Give us a sense of your current size of your business in terms of headcount, in terms of turnover, and where are you heading towards with this investment?
Thanks, Brian. Absolutely. We're about a 400 people company. We partnered up with Diamond Asia Capital in January, which I'm quite honored. I think both sides have gone through a rigorous dating process in a way. I've run my due diligence, and I know they have probably done an even more extensive one. So in a way, I would say this is quite a natural partnership. We're both heavily focused in Asia. We both have strong growth ambition. We both believe strongly in the cloud market. So this brought out some natural synergies. With the partners, we've set out to reach revenue targets of about 100 million in revenues by 2024. We're quite on track for that. Part of reaching these targets is a natural expansion to the US, where many of our financial industry and banking clients have further footholds and synergy. And also the expansion of the Olympian Academy, I believe, will be quite crucial to the expansion pillars. We're also looking strategically to grow the business intelligently, right? And knowing the Biztechasia audience, and I'm thinking, when you look at managed service company, most people see, okay, so managed service company, you grow it organically on one hand. On the other hand, yes, you can look at rolling it up, right? And from an M&A acquisition strategy, valid strategies in different markets naturally. For us, we're looking at something a little bit more different, a little unique, right? We want to look at components that help us exponentially grow. Rolling up is something can be done, but with our expertise and knowledge in the market, particularly in Asia, with our focus from our clients, right? It's about adding meaningful components. We have created some organically. For example, Anywhere as a cloud platform is very synergetic. It can be attractive to similar clients, and hence can yield a lot better business models and revenues. So we're actively looking to bring in unique components, may that be other products and services, and then to continuously focus on the banking clients. We believe that way we would possibly yield exponential growth. I think it can supersede traditional roll-up strategies, frankly speaking, and that's really what it is about, right? It's a place where we create innovation. It's out of Asia. It's a place of meaning, and it's a place of talent, and where people want to be and belong. So it's important to have a modern workplace. That's
a different strategy from a traditional managed services company for sure. Acquiring components or products and services that fit into the ecosystem that you've basically created and your client base as well.
Absolutely correct. So it's a very strategic driven exercise, and I'm very honored to have the right partners, right? Both being Singapore focused and them being a domestic champion. I think that just works really well for what we have set out to do.
Daniel, it's been a very informative conversation with you. But before we leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with?
I think the key one is really, for me, I think Asia is a market that will still grow faster than the rest of the world. And with what we have seen in the world in the last 2 years, your digital capabilities will continue to matter. Having the right partner rather than trying to be an expert of everything will be important. Asia is heavily fragmented in jurisdictions, in regulations, in markets, and etc. So again, choosing a partner carefully that understands these markets and has the right talent capabilities would be the most important.
Daniel, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
Thank you very much.
We've been speaking to Daniel Colby, the founder and Group CEO of ITCS Group. I'm Brian Fernandez, and you've been listening to Biztech C-Suite Conversation Show. This video will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. It will also be on our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.